public comments today?
No public comments.
All right, we'll close the public comment section. Minutes. Well, consideration and action of the minutes of September 17th, 2025. Are there any corrections? Have a motion to
Make a
approve.
motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Minutes are approved. We'll now go on to the resolutions. And receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard of the Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SLB 4-R-25-10. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugarland to fund public artworks, meeting the requirements of the Development Corporation Act. And Cherie Davis will.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Cherie Davis, your Civic Arts Manager. And so we'll be going over the resolution for 2025 and discussing one project that we're taking to council in for 2026. So for 2025, this agenda, we'll go over overall division overview, the 2025 art installations, 2026, the public art plan that we'll be taking to council here in a few weeks. And we'll go a little bit in depth on that, the consultant selection process, what the plan will deliver and how, and any questions you may have. So a little overview. This is a highline shot of our Mayfield Park project that was completed in the late February of 2025, and the ribbon cutting was in March. So just a few shots of that. So we also did the Butterfly Cove watering system located in Brazos River Park at the Butterfly kind of encampment they have there. So this actually provides all of the water for that. So we had artist Devonna Stimson do that. We also had a Little League trailer competition go on. There are 2 trailers located on that property now that are painted. And then we released 5 little library installations around the city that are now filled with books. They are all GIS mapped, so you can find the locations. And when you click the link, it tells you what books are in each box. We just recently wrapped up the Smart Financial Center gallery renovation, and the art there is by renowned artist collective Hiva Kozo. And if you go there at night, it's absolutely stunning. And right now we are running the Sugarland Build Better Blocks activated space. It'll be up through March 2026. In that space, we have art, we have seating, we have a lot of ADA seating as well. We have a canopy and a garden and a vendor trailer there, as you can see, that can be ran as, we ran it as a bike repair shop, we just run it as a wine trailer. And so every single Sunday there's yoga. We have activations throughout the month. We have 7 activations this month alone. Couple more shots. And every shot that you see in this slideshow is actually from this year. So that makes it really cool. This is another shot from Sugarland Better Blocks. So Civic Arts Division, the Sugarland Civic Arts Division leads the development and integration of arts, culture, and creative placemaking in the community. And our mission is to enhance the quality of life, foster community pride, and strengthen Sugarland's identity through public art, cultural programming, and partnerships. We serve as the connector between artists, residents, and city departments, ensuring public art and cultural initiatives reflect the community values while aligning with council's strategic priorities. So our focus for 2026, setting a new standard.
That was me.
Yes, so also fiscal 2025, we were certified through the Texas Department of Economic Development as a music-friendly community, and Jacobson's there. So since 2016, we have not had a public art plan or any kind of standardization for this division since 2016. But I want to talk a little bit about what's happened since then. The division moved from economic development to public works. We also underwent a name changing from cultural arts to civic arts. And that's really to kind of talk about the way that we operate now, which is a completely community engagement. We don't do a project without speaking to the community first. We completed multiple permanent art installations, Smart Financial Center, T.E. Harmon, Sugarland Airport, Mayfield Park, Oyster Creek Park, and more. We developed Canvas Sugarland, which is our initiative to spread murals throughout the city and sculptures. We launched Summer of Sound Music Festival that saw over 7 genres in 6 weeks in Oyster Creek Park and was the catalyst for us getting our music certification through the state. And we also launched the International Celebration Make Music Day. We just did our second year, and we do those in Town Square and several other places. We were able to launch pilot projects that address needs such as literacy and art, mental health initiatives, public art liaison program, which led to our Mayfield Park mural, and guided our Sugarland Better Blocks design and all of the community-led activations in that space. We grew our artist engagement programs. We have 4 artist rosters. We have an established artist roster in visual arts, an emerging artist roster in visual arts, and both of those artist rosters in performing arts as well. We established artist in residency programs. We ran 2 this year. We have mural sponsorships and neighborhood activations. We partner with state agencies leading to our designation as a music-friendly Texas community. We have repaired, removed, and relaunched all poorly maintained, damaged, or end-of-life artworks. We reevaluated our artwork contracts to include a rental program, which led to the install in front of Smart Financial Center. And it allows us to do short-term art activations, marketing, storytelling methods, and performance art. And then our launch of Sugarland Better Blocks. It's a creative placemaking initiative hosted in an underutilized art lot, creating a park-like setting for our community with multiple uses and stunning aesthetics that were designed by our residents. So what is a public art plan? It's a strategic roadmap that guides us with how we're going to commission, how we fund, and how we maintain public art. How we outline our goals, policies, priorities, and integrating art into public spaces, into our infrastructure. And it serves as a building document for aligning our art initiatives for the city. What do cities do with them? They use them to plan, identify maintenance needs over time while forecasting demographic shifts. Right now, with the pieces we have, which is about 47 pieces, a majority of those pieces were installed before I was here, which would be 2016, 2017, and they have not been maintained or taken care of since. We have taken care of the ones that pose any sort of danger, but for the most part, there's no de-accessioning plan because we do not have a public art plan that outlines that. This will allow us to establish partnership opportunities, focused economic growth areas, and potential funding strategies for artists and projects. Data and facts. How does this project truly make us the greatest? We're not just doing projects for the sake of having projects roll out. How do they actually benefit our residents and our community as a whole? Public art plans show you how to use our community engagement and partnership with local artists, businesses, and organizations to build relationship, visibility, community identity. This piece here on the left is actually the Vortex sculpture located out in front of the airport. And we just had that one maintained a few months ago. So that's one of those shots from that. Why public art plan is needed? To provide clarity and coordination across departments. Right now, if you Google Sugarland Civic Arts, you will get a plan from 2016. Nothing in it is accurate. It will help the city leverage investments by prioritizing impactful, well-placed artworks that add long-term value. It builds community pride and identity through art that reflects Sugarland's character and story. It strengthens our economic vitality and tourism appeal through art that attracts visitors and supports local businesses. And encourages our collaboration and innovation between city departments, civic partners, and the creative community. So we'll talk a little bit about our selection process and how we got down to the consultants that we selected. So we developed our RFP and metrics in collaboration with Data Innovation and Purchasing, who helped with our RFP. From that, we developed a well-developed submission and selection process that open above. We had 8 completed applications. That may seem low, but this is an incredibly niche career field to be in. A panel of 7 department stakeholders reviewed the top applicants. 2 candidates were narrowed down and we contacted them for panel interviews. The interviews were conducted and score sheets were completed, and MIG was overwhelmingly selected based on proposal, interview, and their reputation. So how do we do this? What is this going to look like? So the outcome that we're looking for is develop community engagement standards and data tracking tools. And the way that they'll do that is the consultants will fly in, they'll host 4 different workshops. They'll host one with Parks Board, City Council, they'll host one with 4B, and they'll host one with the community as a whole. To kind of talk about what art needs to look like for the community, what funding options are available, what the overall identity for the city is, and how can we make sure that the art that we create and put out into the community is catered towards that identity. It'll create funding and partnership strategies. Right now, we only have one source of funding, but if we sit and collaborate with local businesses, developers, organizers to identify sponsorship grants and matching fund opportunities that expand, we can possibly and grow our overall city impact and our ability to fund projects like music. Establishing long-term maintenance and conservation guidelines. Right now, every February, we go around and we inspect the pieces that we currently have, but there is no maintenance plan. If there is an issue, we are more reactive than proactive. And with art, if you want to get a return on investment, you have to be proactive. Develop a citywide marketing and visibility strategy for public art. Partner with communications and tourism teams to position Sugar Land as a regional arts destination, promoting installations, artists, and community stories through digital campaigns, exhibitions, and visitor experience. About the consultants, we selected MIG because they have a deep expertise around public art consulting, placemaking, cultural planning, and community engagement, meaning they know how to design art programs and move them forward in real cities. Their portfolio spans branding, communications, wayfinding, exhibit designing, and urban design, all of which intersect with public art and create a richer public space. They have a broad client base, including cities, municipalities, regional agencies, and cultural institutions. MIG facilitates consistent building and community outreach, core to ensuring public art is rooted in community priorities, not just top down. And their work includes strong visualization, mapping, and data-driven planning tools. These are a couple of their projects that are, I would say, kind of similar to what they would do here. But if you go to their website, I did it last night at the Parks Board meeting, and we had a real hard time getting back into the slideshow. If we're risk takers, we might try it, but one of the ones they did was Addison, Texas. They did their overall open space master plan, and that was designed all of their third spaces in the city. Addison is a city that will be familiar, kind of similar to Sugar Land as far as it being shortly outside of Dallas, and the population is around 140,000 people. Greensboro, North Carolina, they also did their strategic vision plan, and they had over 1,200 participants at their resident workshop, which that type of outreach is what we're looking for to get our community involved in this type of project. And then Denver, Colorado, they help with the area and neighborhood plan. So they did a lot of inclusive engagement, interactive tools, and pop-up workshops that I think will work with. Now, again, if you want to see more of their work, I suggested they have over 19 pages. Each page has 11 projects. So that just kind of goes to show the robust workload that they've taken under. And so what will this new plan deliver? A clear framework to standardize how public artwork is commissioned, funded, and maintained. When you look up Sugar Land Civic Arts, you should be able to know how we work. And right now, that's not the case. Updated policies and procedures that align with the city's current goals and community needs. Funding and partnership strategies, marketing and visibility guidelines, a roadmap for maintenance and sustainability. I want to say this is definitely one of our number one priorities. And a unified vision, connecting art, infrastructure, and economic growth initiatives. Any questions?
Okay, we'll wait for the board questions after the public hearing.
Okay.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. Are there any citizen comments? All right, we'll close the public hearing. And then let me just read the resolution again. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Sugar Land 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugar Land to fund public artwork, meeting in the requirements of the Development Corporation Act. Open for questions. Sanjay, question.
Okay, so is there any amount associated with it? How much is the money we are talking here?
Yes, the contract for the consultants is 117,500.
It's not in the resolution though, the amount.
No, it's not in a resolution. We didn't present an overall contract review. We were just doing a resolution for 25. We're presenting this to you since we'll be going to council in the next weeks.
Come back for the approval again for the exact amount, or this is it?
It will probably be a part of our resolution for next year, but this is more of a conversation around the overall contract, just to kind of let you guys know what we'll be taking to council.
And how much is our budget for 2026 for civic art?
Our budget is 250,000 that we are going to be receiving from the 4B Corporation, but we do have a fund reserve of 800,000. So this will be coming from previous funds that were not used since COVID.
So Shay, my understanding is the funding resolution that's in front of them today is for the 250,000 that is in the FY26 budget. So
Yes.
the funding resolution that's in front of you is for the 250,000 that was in the FY26 budget. And it's authorizing those funds to be used for public art. It is not specific to the contract that she's talking about, but she's giving an overview of what Civic Arts has done for the last year and what they're looking to do in FY 26.
So question is, would you come back to us for a specific approval for this contract? Or once you approve 250, that's it?
I would be coming back to you to review after the contract is complete to show you the work that we've done as far as deliverables are concerned. But this will be used, I mean, this overall cost would come out of a backlog of funds.
I'll just give my feedback. So
Can I just give a clarity?
Yeah.
The contract will be coming to city council for approval. It will not be coming to this board for approval. This board is only authorizing the funding. The council will be authorizing the contracting.
So I understand the funding we have in a way approved in the budget already. Yeah, because we approved the budget and
Yes, the city council has approved the money in the budget, but per the statute, the board has to authorize this funding resolution.
so my feedback is I am all for spending 250K on arts in total. I would rather that money be spent on actual artwork and the project. I believe 110K or 117K is quite a lot of that money to spend. A lot of work I believe should be done by the staff or coordinated by the staff. So that's my feedback from the SL4B side in terms of how you spend it. I am okay as 250 for the total money allocated to the art. So if this comes back to council at some stage for approval, then I will give my feedback there also. But this is my feedback on specific to the consultant.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I'd make a comment on just the consultant. I'd like to know before, and I'm not on council, so I have no. But I like the idea that you're framing the efforts here into a definitive process, which we do not have right now. And if that takes $117,000 one time to set this up for long term, especially when you talk about cooperating with businesses and other opportunities for funding, I think that's potentially a very good use of funds. Because if it's a setup like that. Okay, just comment.
I'd like to add on to Kurt's comment. I also support the development of a plan, especially since we haven't had one since 2016. And I specifically like that you're including the maintenance and sustainability so that the artwork will be preserved.
Question on my side. So then the follow-up on Kurt's comment, is this meant to be a one-time expense, or is the consulting going to be a recurring thing to go over data analysis and continued improvement to the plan? Like, what is the long-term goal here?
So this is a master plan. So this allows us 5 to 7 years to develop things inside of the master plan. And not only that, to collaborate with other departments and divisions. Right now, we work with data and innovation to develop metrics per project as they go. But that's something we could standardize across projects to make sure they are meeting those metrics to gauge success. Right now, success is, do we feel like it worked? This gives us the opportunity to work with interdepartmental departments to talk about what success looks like as a city as a whole. And we don't have that at all. So this is something that'll last 5 to 7 years so we can develop that. Right now, it's all based on the 2016 plan where all the demographics are off, the information is not accurate, and at the time we weren't even putting out art. So the goal for this is for that 5 to 7 years for us as a city to be able to establish this division as a standardized operation, which hasn't happened yet.
Follow up. So then this resolution is just for 250K for funding for public arts. Funding for this, Devin, you were saying was coming out of which fund? You said there's a reserve fund of 800.
No, she mentioned they have a reserve, and then what was put in the FY 26 budget is an additional 250,000, which has been the standard amount that has 4B has contributed towards public art annually.
Right. I guess part of why I'm a little bit confused is, did the presentation have anything directly to do with the resolution, or is it just loosely related?
So the first part of it, that recap, was all of the pieces we were able to install in FY 25 using the 25. So that was the resolution portion to kind of present you with the pieces we were able to install using the 250K. Mind you, just the High by Kozo pieces are 160K. So 250 isn't I mean, our operations also come out of that 250, so it's not a ton, but this shows you kind of what we were able to do with that 250 was significantly over because we do have a backlog of funds. So the resolution was to kind of bring you and show you what we were able to do with the 250, but some of also the reserves as well, because this is significantly over $250,000 a year. I'm giving you, the point of the contract is to kind of show you what our goal is for 2026 as far as standardization is concerned, to kind of let you know we would like to standardize the way we operate right now. Yes, right now there's no legacy for the division. If I were to leave, the next person would have to make it up as they go. And I don't like that. I would like for there to be something standardized that you guys can consistently rely on for 10 years forward. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
So this one, should we not add the amount to the resolution? Because right now there's no amount mentioned.
It's already in the budget.
No, in the resolution which we are making, shouldn't an amount be mentioned? 250K?
Yes, I thought it was in there. Unless
I
I
thought
will
in
defer to
the-
legal, I'll defer to legal.
It doesn't count because it is in the budget, you cannot exceed what's in the budget.
Okay.
But since you've already approved your budget, city council already approved your budget, that is the max amount without her coming back to you and saying, hey, you make an adjustment.
And today we are just approving 250K for public art or civic art in general,
That's-
not necessarily a project or other projects. Yes, yeah, okay. Thank you.
More of a comment on a certain question, but I guess at some point, if you can give a breakdown of the scope of what the consultants expect, I think you gave some of it today, but versus like what the staff does and then what overlap there may be would be useful.
Absolutely. And I think they'll really come up in workshop for sure. After we contract the consultants, they'll build out what our actual, methodology is going to be and how we'll work forward. Right now, since we're not contracted, we haven't allowed them to kind of start working on that.
Right.
But once that happens, they will meet with council specifically and kind of talk to you guys about like, what are you hoping to get out of a overall public art plan? And that gives us all the opportunity to kind of make that overall investment as a city and what this looks like moving forward, which we haven't had the opportunity to do.
Any others? Motion to approve?
I can make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Approved. Thank you. We'll now move on to the next item. Consideration and action on Sugar Land 4B resolution number SLB 4R-25-09, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugar Land 4B Corporation adopting a corporation policy for an SO4B retail fresh program. Jonathan?
Sugar Land 4B Board of Directors. It has been about a year since the commercial revitalization grant was first brought to y'all by my supervisor, boss Jessica Hubble. And in that year, we actually just received our 5th application requesting funds from the 4B. More on that soon, but that pretty much brought us to about $3 million in proposed improvements. So there's definitely interest from the commercial center side and reinvestment and putting money back into our community. And I'm excited to bring this policy for y'all's approval today. As I spoke in the workshop, I will try not to reiterate too much on what I spoke about last meeting. But I'm really bringing this to y'all as a new incentive tool, right? There was a time last year, it was actually right after Hurricane Beryl, where I met with a large major grocer. I'm not going to say who it is, but they came to the table, us in development planning, got lunch with them, and they asked us, what incentives do you have to offer us, right? We want to go into this space. We're getting offered this from certain suburbs in Dallas, and we want to know what you're going to offer us. And it was a little bit of an awkward conversation because we didn't necessarily have a specialized tool or policy to really offer them that kind of incentive funding. So I think policies like this are important in order to set up these frameworks for us to offer small incentives for certain retail businesses that really enliven our community. And so first, a little recap of why we're doing this, right? It's part of implementing the strategic plan. It's about enhancing suburban community, stimulating economic growth, attracting businesses and creating jobs, right? Those local retail jobs and fostering sensitive redevelopment as well. Fostering a commercial and redevelopment environment, as the strategic plan says, it means implementing incentives that further drive the development that we would want to see as a city. Sugar Land only has 4% of developable land remaining, so that means there needs to be a lot of reinvestment and redevelopment on our already existing developed properties. And supporting a thriving retail market through incentives and supporting more strong retail in these key areas where the sales tax per acre and our areas of commerce are really producing a lot of sales tax and property tax revenue for the city. It's really important, right? It's about reinvesting into these already economically producing areas that keep our city financially and fiscally strong. And so with that, I put some key excerpts from the resolution that was included in your packet on these following slides for your approval. The program goals, we added a new program goal from last year, which is about catalyzing experiential retail, innovative market-driven concepts and infill development on underutilized sites, along with the rest of the program goals that you see there. Next, this grant and this policy, these are our customers for this specific policy, right? Commercial centers, right? Last year, we brought you a policy for a commercial revitalization grant for the reinvest for giving an incentive to help incentivize our commercial property owners to reinvest into their commercial properties, which would support multiple businesses. The three new ones, we want to see more experiential retail in the city, right? These bring very vibrant new places that our residents and enjoy as well, and bring more tourism as well. We want to address and bring in more concepts that address identified retail market gaps. This is your large anchor tenants that are missing, vacant spaces that have been vacant for a long time. We really want to address these through an incentive if it's possible, especially if the market's not driving new tenants to these spaces. And finally, the city wants to see infill development on underutilized sites, right? That means pad sites, like building on underutilized parking lots. We've received feedback from property owners that they're interested in building out their parking lots more and utilizing those underutilized spaces. Which brings more revenue for the city, you know, filling in those not utilized parking lot spots with new businesses. Our focus areas are going to be the ones identified in our land use plan. So that's our regional activity centers, that's Town Square, Lake Point, University Boulevard, Imperial, and the Sugar Creek Triangle, and there are areas surrounding those as well as our other redevelopment areas, such as our neighborhood activity centers, which includes most of the major shopping centers within the city. And so we really want to see applicants in those areas and around those areas too. I outlined the incentive here. There's one key difference that I made between the workshop and today. I attended a BizNow event on retail and mixed use. And there were a lot of developers there. I listened to a lot of talks, and I realized that I needed to kind of write this policy in a way where if we got a large project or a project that was really impactful, the policy needs to be written in a flexible enough way where we're offering more than 50,000, or you as the board of directors can have more discretion on how much we offer a potential retailer that comes to the city. And so the policy is written in a way where generally speaking, reimbursement incentives for individual retail projects will be up to 30% of the project's total cost, up to 75,000. However, if we get a project that warrants more than that, you as the board have the discretion to approve more than that. And so this amount is in line with what we see in other cities. Actually, city of Missouri City just had their policy approved for their retail program as well. They're offering an incentive of up to 100,000, but this amount, based on the sales tax research that we did, feels about right. For commercial centers, you know, this is multiple businesses. The incentive stays the same, 20% of an eligible project's total cost with no cap. The reason for no cap is whenever you improve commercial centers, which include multiple businesses, multiple taxpayers, there's much more of a benefit there in retaining and attracting more retailers to these large properties that have a lot of sales taxpayers, right? Some of our anchor tenants in the city, I'm talking your Home Depot, Lowe's, the anchor tenants that take up our major commercial centers in the city, they pay a lot of those that are in the city's top 20 sales taxpayers, if you look at that data. And so keeping those tenants here and keeping them paying sales tax and property tax is really important. And every project that a developer or retailer will bring to us will be negotiated, through a performance agreement. That performance agreement will be brought to you as a board, as it has done already. So of course, you as the board will approve these projects before they can be before they move forward. And a portion of all of the cost of any project that we receive through an application has to be eligible for funding through the Development Corporation Act. So we've got to keep things legal. I'll go through this real quickly. We want to see projects that, accomplish 2 or more of these preferred development outcomes. So we really want to see, foundational retail infrastructure key opportunity sites. That's the new one, but also modernization of our commercial spaces, right? And improvements that improve the pedestrian realm. For individual retailers, this is in the policy. The projects need to include an aspect that includes infrastructure that's necessary for promoting or developing new or expanded business enterprises. So we need to see some water, sewer utilities, electric utilities, gas, drainage, site improvements, and or related improvements, right? This has to be eligible through the state statute. Or it could be improvements that enhance the visual appeal of our streets, which is also economic development funding friendly. For commercial centers, this has not changed. We want to see proposals that include improvements to multiple of these aspects, facade, signage, parking lot, public art improvements, pedestrian improvements, everything that that impacts your everyday resident and tourist as well, and visitor. So the process moving forward will be generally the same. We'll receive an application online. We encourage all of our property owners and potential retailers to meet with us. If you think you have a project and you want to partner with us, we'll discuss that project. We'll work out a performance agreement. That performance agreement will go to a staff committee that'll include engineering, planning, economic development, to make sure it's eligible for funding, legal, but also to make sure that the proposed project fits within the policy. That performance agreement will be sent to the applicant for review and signature, and then that's going to be, after that's signed and they're okay with the terms, it'll go to the Economic Development Committee that's composed of 3 city council members. And then that after they allow that to move forward, it'll go to you as the board of directors. So a lot of layers between a performance agreement being proposed by a stakeholder and before it gets to you. So and once you approve it, we'll sign that and sign and execute that performance agreement, and the project can commence. And so the next steps would be for you to approve the resolution that was included in the packet. And we would announce a retail refresh grant with a press release following this meeting and begin marketing and outreach. One thing I forgot to put in the slides too, we received feedback last year from the board. This funding for this program was generally from last year was coming from Reserve for Opportunities. They'll give us the feedback no more than 500,000 in fiscal year 25. And so one little change from that, instead of using Reserve for Opportunities, we would be using the business incentives and compliance or business incentives line item in our budget for about the same amount. And one thing about that too is, if we don't receive a project, that's funding that could be used for something else, of course, right? So it's not like we lose any money by not getting any projects to y'all, and y'all have the say as to whether or not we approve a project. And so with that, staff recommends approval of resolution number SL4B R2509, adopting a corporation policy for a SL4B retail refresh grant program. So thank you.
Any comments or questions?
I had a question.
Sorry.
Can you go to the map which you had about the key areas?
Isn't that the one that shows that District 3 has the most income impact?
So I think the future money should go to District 2 now. But District 3 already has. So my question was, is it limited to only the areas in red, or is it open to other areas also?
Oh, it's both. So anything, so the regional activity centers, there's
the right side.
outline right here, and then there's red areas here plus the outlined areas here. The policy is written where it's flexible too. So let's say we have something like right next to Lake Point, for example. Here's the boundary. Let's say there's something impactful that comes our way that happens right next to it. It's written in a way where it's
So the reason I'm highlighting is one project I have requested city manager, which is the old Rendell Al Rabba Shopping Center
Oh, yes.
on New Territory Boulevard. It's the whole complex which is empty,
Right.
and it requires some work.
Yes.
So if that can be considered under this, if
Definitely.
an opportunity comes.
Yes, actually, we are very knowledgeable about that particular property, and the policy is written in a way where there's nothing in the policy that would prevent, if somebody brought a project to that area, there's nothing in the policy that would prevent us from bringing that to you guys. So
All I'm requesting, you go out to check the interest there on that area.
Yes, sir. And these maps actually come from our land use plan, which was last updated. It was actually a few years ago, but this map could use some updating, I think. So.
All right. Thank you.
I like the fact that you have a relatively new program, but then to make sure it's relevant, you're coming in because it hasn't been utilized fully and bringing in something that will make it more relevant and competitive. I think that's a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any comments? Have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion approved. Thank you, John. We will now move on to the next item, review of and discussion of updated marketing campaigns and strategies. Jordan Cutler and Emily Pollard.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan Cutler. I am the Senior Marketing Manager for the City of Sugar Land's Office of Economic Development and Tourism. We are going to briefly go through kind of just what we do as a marketing and communications team to support both economic development and tourism initiatives. I know there's been a lot of questions about how marketing works, what we do. And so we wanted to spend some time and workshop with you all to kind of run through our functions and some of the work that we do. So this is kind of our presentation highlights. Again, we'll introduce ourselves, kind of explain what we do, why it matters. Marketing can look different in a lot of different companies. So we'll explain how we approach it and our functions that we have for those specific entities. And then kind of talk through the value and impact. We have some new campaigns that we are rolling out this year. And so I wanted to introduce those to you all as well. And then kind of give you guys some information on how you guys can utilize what we do and make an impact with the marketing and communications that we have. So again, we represent both economic development and tourism and also the Department of Redevelopment. You guys are familiar with what we do as a function, but these are the two divisions that we support. Again, these departments are directly tied to our city strategic action plan. And so stimulating economic growth and fostering sensitive redevelopment are the two all-ins that these departments kind of really are involved in, and our marketing and communications work really helps to uplift those programs and those all-in initiatives. So a little bit about myself. I come from a background in tourism and economic development. So started off in South Carolina at the Department of Parks and Recreation and Tourism, and then moved to Texas and worked with downtown Houston and Central Houston to do their marketing. And now I've been with the city for about a year and a half. On our team, we are actually hiring right now for a digital marketing coordinator role and a marketing and engagement coordinator role. And these two roles will be in our economic development and tourism office, and really help support the work we do on a social level in our digital space, but then also with our venues and our partners and the sponsorships that we do from an engagement perspective. And then I'll introduce Emily Pollard, who manages the communications for the Department of Redevelopment, to kind of introduce herself and tell you a little bit about the work that she does for redevelopment.
Thanks, Jordan. So I'm Emily Pollard. I am the communications manager for the Department of Redevelopment. I oversee all of the different priority projects, community engagement, communications, PR and marketing of the priority projects, but also the programs such as the Retail Refresh Grant and different things along those lines. My background is in journalism, public relations, communications, and marketing. I previously worked at the Frisco Economic Development Corporation, leading their marketing and communications efforts, and then started with the City of Sugar Land in February. So I will walk us through what we do and why it matters. So Jordan and I have a joint role in elevating our brand as the City of Sugar Land, especially to an external audience. We want Sugar Land to be known as the premier destination for not only tourism and business, but also redevelopment opportunity. We lead strategic campaigns and initiatives, and our work is very data-driven. So we have a lot of strategy behind the marketing and communication work that we do to make sure that it resonates with our primary audiences, which are visitors, meeting planners, businesses, developers, site selectors. So it's residents, but it's also beyond residents. We look at ourselves as the marketing arm of the city. And then we also focus on authentic storytelling and aligning our messaging and facilitating collaboration. We also create memorable experiences. So that's bringing in different groups, either that be convention, meeting planners, businesses, developers, things along those lines, to really show them what that exceptional level of the Sugar Land experience is. And then we measure partner impact. We wanted to make sure to point out that we're not the city's communications team. The city has its own designated communications team that does a great job managing all of those service updates, crisis messaging, and they manage more of the communications as from the city as a whole and the services provided. Again, these are the individuals and audiences that we specifically target. So we try to get in front of corporate decision makers, that being the C-suite executives and companies. And then the life sciences sector, developers and investors, startups, residents, and future talent workforce. And then visitors, cultural explorers, event producers, meeting planners, and regional partners. Turn it back over to Jordan.
So I'm gonna go through our functions and tactics. As we go through this will represent projects and initiatives that span across both 4A and 4B. Obviously, those are the things that this board, in addition to the other board, kind of oversees, but then it will also include tourism initiatives as well. So although that's not directly tied to oversight by the boards, it is something that we wanted to include just from an awareness perspective. Those initiatives really help tell a cohesive story about where Sugar Land is going as we look to attract both visitors, businesses, all these different developers. And so our strategy since we've started has been about really telling a cohesive story. We have different audiences, we have different goals, but overall our goal is to attract visitors and stimulate economic growth in the city. And so by telling those narratives in a cohesive manner, no matter what board it is or what department it is, it really strengthens us as a city. And so again, marketing and communications can look very differently in depending on the organization you're in, but these are the four kind of core areas that we have: public relations, advertising, sponsorships, and digital marketing and general marketing bucket. And so public relations is managed externally through our Lou Hammond contract that we work with for that. They handle media pitching, thought leadership, familiarization tours. And so public relations as a whole is us utilizing our media connections and relationships to get our name out there from a publication standpoint. So news, podcasts, TV interviews, those kind of things, print journalism as well. And so we utilize Lou Hammond to really develop those relationships. We have, again, Emily mentioned our city comms team. They do a great job on a local level. And so Lou Hammond really steps in to fill that regional and national gap that we really want, because we want to see Sugar Land's name in regional and national outlets. And so we do not have those relationships here on staff. And so having a partner come in and help tell those stories for us to, number one, craft those narratives, but they have relationships that they've had for years with some of these top outlets, just Forbes, Houston Cron, some of those regional outlets. And so utilizing those relationships to help tell those stories, and we proactively pitch. And so in this bucket, there are kind of two categories that make that up: paid media and earned media. Our strategy has been really focused on earned media. And so that is through just relationship development. That is with our team proactively pitching. We are sending them news articles and press releases, working with them to tell the stories. Imperial was a great example of that. We worked with journalists well before that announcement was made to make sure under embargo. So essentially like a contracted a story that once that agreement was published, we were able to immediately launch and tell our story the way we want to, versus having people come and tell our story for us in a way that we have not had any involvement in. And so again, all that relationship building and all of that is through earned media. We do not pay for any of those outlets or any of those projects that we do in stories. And so that is the public relations category. Advertising is a more play-to-play area. And so search engine optimization, so SEO and SEM, think about when you're Google searching or Bing searching, those are the keywords that are popping up to make Sugar Land come up. So on a business front, if people are looking for offices, or from a tourism front, if people are looking for places to eat in the city, those are the keywords that are working. And so we do work with the vendor to help run our Google ads and our SEO and SEM for that specific campaign. Digital advertising, that's our socials, so LinkedIn, obviously for the economic development branch, but on our tourism side, we have all the different platforms, so Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And occasionally we'll boost posts and do some advertising for specific campaigns that we want to target and bring more awareness to. And then we really do out-of-home advertising, but that's the billboards. Those are the kiosks that you see and kind of those paid spaces. Sponsorships is also an awareness-driven function of marketing and communications. And so when we partner with conferences or large events, that's really to help get our name in alignment and kind of next to some of these regional and national partners. So we've done some BizNow sponsorships, we've done Next Gen Life Science talks. And so that positions us in a place to have our name and our brand. We know we love putting Sugar Land out there, but I think it's important for us to be aligned with the organizations that we're partnering with. And so this sponsorship category allows us to really partner with those local, regional, and national events and partners to make sure that we're aligned and to get our name in front of the right audiences. And then lastly, this is kind of like the bucket for everything else, which is a website, social media, email, and one-pager. So we just relaunched our economic development website. We did work with the vendor to redo that. And so if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I would highly recommend it. It serves as a great hub, and that's really the foundation. This category is really the foundation of marketing. Without that, we can't really do any of the other things. And so our website is important to having visitors or businesses come and learn about, what spaces are available in this city, what taxes and incentives do we have to help support the work that we do. So making sure that that layout and that website has clear information that's deliverable, understandable is really, really important. On the social media kind of management side, we do that in-house as well. So we manage all of our social media channels. We don't really typically partner with influencers on an economic development front, but on a tourism front, we do partner with local influencers to kind of promote businesses that are opening in the city. So Velvet Taco just opened, and we just, promoted that as a partnership with an influencer. Most times those are for trade partnerships, so we don't pay them. We kind of do an exchange for services, but then on some rare occasions, especially for regional influencers that we have in our drive markets, we'll partner with influencers to come in and tell our story. So we've recently partnered with a regional influencer from Dallas who came and highlighted our parks and why people should utilize our parks for visitation in our city. And it performed really, really well. And then the last kind of two buckets are email marketing. Emily does a great job with our monthly newsletter that we have. And if you guys have not subscribed, I would definitely recommend. It gives information about what we do and our projects, and that is also managed in-house. And then the one-pagers that you guys may have seen about the work that we do, that's also included in our digital marketing and general marketing. So to summarize all of that, all of this plays into a role into what we do. It's an integrated marketing approach, and it makes sure that we are in different audiences, that we're getting in front of different people. Some people may not have social media, but some people search the web. And so by having these kind of different buckets, we're putting our name and really stretching ourselves out to make sure that we're in the right audiences.
Yeah, and just very quickly highlighting some of the examples of things that Jordan talked about. We have all of this here is earned media opportunities. So either things that we've pitched directly or sent out press releases on, submitted names. So Devin was just recently recognized as one of the Women Who Mean Business Awards. We were able to secure that through one of our thought leadership sort of approaches through Lou Hammond, our PR agency. And then AOI, when they had the 500 new job announcement that Jen brought to the board a couple of months back, we were able to do a press release and media pitch through that. So the HBJ picked that up, as well as Culture Map. They covered the acquisition of the Char House and different tourism opportunities as well. So then other examples of advertising. This is a 2-page spread that we have just launched in Urban Land Institute's magazine, and this is part of a print and digital and sponsored content package that we're doing with them. So Urban Land Institute, I believe, has 35,000 commercial real estate members, and so this publication goes directly to them and their list through email, a physical piece, as well as online platform. And so anyways, this is just a really cool example of different ways that we will be using our new Ready for Something Sweeter campaign that we'll touch on here in a second. And then different sponsorships that we've done that range from business development, redevelopment, and tourism. And then these digital marketing, general marketing components that Jordan mentioned earlier, from one-pagers, our newsletter, social media channels, websites, etc. Let's go back to this me.
Yeah.
Is it?
Okay. It's okay. And overall, this is our impact that we do. We talked a little bit about the work that we do across the different functions. And so these are the different reaches. So our social media and our digital reach, we have over 24,000 monthly website visitors monthly across both our economic development and tourism websites. On our LinkedIn, across both, we have over 131,000 impressions, which impressions are just the number of people that are coming consistently back. So if people are consistently coming to our pages and looking at it, that's what that tracks, even if people come back repeatedly. Across LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, we've had 4,100 new followers in 2025. And so a lot of what we do is awareness building. And so when these numbers increase, that means we're getting more eyes on the work that we do, which overall just helps us as a city strengthen our brand. Advertising, we talked about a little bit about that. We did a 2025 life science advertising campaign that had over 275,000 impressions. We targeted, once again, going back to the strategy and data, we looked at our numbers and saw where cities were coming, what businesses and what cities they were in. And so we were able to kind of pinpoint those areas using the LinkedIn kind of back end and target specific areas, target specific, job titles to really make sure that we're targeting the right audience when we do advertising. And then for the PR, again, we talked a lot about earned media. So just to kind of show the impact, our PR firm contract is 120,000 split 3 ways with 4A, 4B, and HOT. And as you can see, just in 2025, we had over 381,000 in earned media. And so just to kind of show the impact, that's over, doubled, almost tripled the contract amount. And so again, if we're not paying for these stories, 120,000 in conjunction to the 381 that we're getting from an earned media perspective is really, really impactful and a really great way for us to strengthen our brand without spending all of that extra money on advertising and things like that. And then we have some experiential impact kind of numbers from some of the tourism initiatives that we do as well. And so we kind of laid the groundwork for what we do, and this will kind of take us into the campaigns that we said. Emily and I worked really, really hard on the 3-year marketing campaign for economic development and tourism. And this just kind of overviews all the things that our city has been doing even before we got here. We've had all these venues. Houston has been breaking numbers in regard to the number of tourists that are coming into the city, the businesses that are coming into the city. And so from Smart Financial to our livability top 100 best places to live, which was secured through our contract with Lou Hammond, niche best places to live, all these things help us tell our story. And so we talk a lot about, Sugar Land is sweet, we're all this, but we really need to start talking about why Sugar Land is sweet and what makes us special. And so these campaigns will really help us tell that story. Again, we've invested in the venues. We have all these amazing attractions. We have amazing businesses. So now it's really time for us to keep that momentum going and to tell our story. We cannot stop now. Our brand is really contingent upon us bringing awareness into the city. And for the tourism side, we are a DMO, a destination management organization. So it's our responsibility by law to also bring awareness to the city. And so what we do kind of impacts that. So this will lead us into our brand and campaign introductions, which we're really excited to share with you guys.
Just quickly before we launch into the exact, the different campaigns, these are kind of a quick overview of our brands. So you'll notice that on the left side here is more vibrant and colorful and playful. The fonts say that as well as the visuals and colors. And that is because that's our tourism branding. So when you are, marketing those people that are looking for unique travel destinations, you want to appeal to that audience versus more of a business-friendly, business-focused audience. So you'll see more clean lines, professional, sort of business aesthetics with the branding of our redevelopment and economic development branding. So with that, we'll go ahead and highlight the 2 campaigns.
And just for a fun fact, our tourism brand, we actually have a picture. If you've been in our visitor center, you'll see like the picture of a sugar crystal under a microscope. And so it's a sugar crystal magnified. And so our brand colors come from that. So the pinks, the purples, those weren't just things that we just kind of haphazardly picked. They were, again, strategic and tying into kind of our overall history as Sugar Land and the things that we do. So quickly, I'm going to go quickly through the tourism one. We have launched our Sweeter With You campaign. So this will be a 3-year marketing campaign that we do that really tells Sugar Land's story. So Sweeter With You celebrates both the people who make up the city and those who experience it. Our cultural diversity, hidden gems, and welcoming atmosphere reflect the vibrancy of Fort Bend County, the most diverse county in the U.S. We are sweet because of you, the people who make up Sugar Land, the residents, businesses, and community who bring our culture and energy to life. And we become even sweeter with you, the visitor, the ones who add your stories, experiences, and connections when you're here. Through storytelling, authentic representation, and the celebration of dynamic local events, Sweeter With You positions Sugar Land as a destination created by its people and made unforgettable by the ones who visit. So it's a true hub for discovery, connection, and cultural celebration. And so this campaign really tells that story of, again, the people who make up Sugar Land, but also the people who are visiting and kind of connecting us all through the experiences that we share. And so some of those goals are to establish Sugar Land as Houston's best suburb, celebrating the cultural diversity that we have, the hidden gems in the city. We'll celebrate Sugar Land's local business community. We have a lot of people who come into our city who are excited about the restaurants that we have and the amazing food scene that we have here in the city. And so uplifting that, promoting our hidden gems from one-of-a-kind experiences that we have in the city to cultural landmarks, and also showing how inclusive and vibrant of a destination Sugar Land is. One of those categories is elevating our local events on our website. Events are the #1 traffic site on our website consistently month after month. People are excited to learn about the events that we have in the city. So we'll do our job to elevate those events and festivals that showcase Sugar Land's culture and provide opportunities for visitors and to engage with those communities. And then it aligns directly with our Ready for Something Sweeter campaign, which Emily will introduce and reflect both the business and community growth, because Sugar Land, its future isn't coming, but it's being built right now. A little bit about the tone. It's warm, it's inviting. This is just some example as to how as a team internally we'll be using this messaging to kind of share, to talk about the campaign. So again, it's telling us about, it's really leaning into the story. It's people-centered, it's energetic. Again, kind of playing back into the colors of showing the energy of Sugar Land. These are some of the collateral that we have to support that messaging and some of the digital things that you may see across social as we start to unveil this campaign. I'll pass it to Emily.
Now, Ready for Something Sweeter. This is a exciting campaign that Jordan and I put our heads together a couple months ago and thought, how can we really put together a business attraction, business retention, redevelopment focused campaign to highlight all the work that's not only happening, but we are inviting to come in. And so when we looked at where the city has been over the last couple of years, we were trying to really weave in what kind of foundational work had already been laid, but also what is this aspirational tone that we want to set to invite people to come to Sugar Land. And so with that, we came up with Ready for Something Sweeter. And you'll notice a period here. It's not a question, it's a statement. We are ready for something sweeter. So Ready for Something Sweeter. There's never been a time to be in Sugar. Blah, blah, blah. There's never been a better time to be in Sugar Land. We've already laid the groundwork for success. Built by visionary leaders, Sugar Land is ripe for opportunity. Just minutes from Houston, the nation's fastest growing region, Sugar Land combines a business-ready environment, infrastructure prime for growth, a highly educated workforce, and innovative public-private partnerships, all the ingredients for growth. The slight upward slant in our wording signals momentum, reflecting the forward-thinking energy of redevelopment and the upward trajectory of economic growth we're driving in our community. The only thing we're missing is you. Sugar Land is the smart choice, whether you're building on a big idea or scaling a new venture. Sugar Land has everything you need to succeed. We're ready for something sweeter. Are you? And so again, it's not a question, it's a statement. The period's intentional. We are ready for what's next. It helps create that urgency, like the FOMO of we're ready, now's the time to get in or you're gonna get left behind. And then it's backed by a strong track record of infrastructure investment, public-private partnerships, and smart redevelopment. We've been built by strategic planning and leadership that supports these new ventures and investment. And it reinforces our readiness and complements, as Jordan mentioned, the Sweeter With You messaging. So our different campaign goals are really to champion local business leaders, such as our major employers, SLB and others, and to invite them to continue to reinvest, expand, create jobs, showcasing the backbone of Sugar Land's economy and the future they're building here. We're highlighting legacies of visionary leadership that's laid that foundation for strategic growth, whether that be city staff or others. And then we are creating a pro-business environment supported by intentional planning and smart redevelopment. We're positioning Sugar Land as the smart choice for business with its proximity to Houston and the Texas Medical Center, as well as our highly educated workforce, robust infrastructure, connected ecosystem, and proven public-private partnerships. So we're showcasing that real momentum and redevelopment and innovation, signaling that Sugar Land's growth trajectory is accelerating and is now the time to get on board. So with this, we're inviting developers, startups, corporate leaders to build, scale, and innovate in a city that's already primed for what's next. And we're inspiring bold investment and forward-thinking ventures. And again, it aligns with the Sweeter With You tourism messaging to reflect that both business and community growth are stronger together, because Sugar Land's future isn't just coming, it's being built right now. So again, the voice and tone are very confident, visionary, trailblazing. It's all very data-driven, but approachable, strategic, and polished and professional. Optimistic tone of voice, aspirational, momentum-focused. On-brand messaging would be, for example, Sugar Land is redefining success and ready with a strong workforce, trailblazing redevelopment, and innovative partnerships that make growth inevitable. Off-brand messaging is, and Sugar Land's that nice little town. It's like a suburb off of Houston. Not what we're going for. So here's some ideas and examples of different swag that we've created using the new campaign branding. And then, thank you.
Yeah, so again, this is just the two campaigns that we have. They'll guide us for the next 3 years. To summarize, they'll guide us through our next 3 years of telling our story and redefining what sweet means for us. And so again, leaning into the different stories that stretch across our business development and growth initiatives. And so here's just a couple of ways that you guys can utilize this. Be an ambassador, tell Sugar Land's story. Now that you know the campaigns, feel free to always reach out to us and let us know if you need collateral to support some of the work that you all are doing out in the city. Amplifying our messaging. If you don't already, I would highly recommend following us on all of our social platforms. So as we promote these campaign stories, as we're going out, uplifting them and sharing them with your network, as well as keeping us informed. If you guys are out in the community and you hear about stories that really play into these campaigns, let us know. We'd be happy to come in and spotlight them as we continue to roll out the storytelling kind of components. And then again, just kind of keeping us informed. We have a newsletter, subscribe to that. But overall, that is the work that we do, and we're really excited to kind of keep that strategy out for the next 3 years. So I do want to open it up for questions in regard to any of the work that we do, or marketing and communications.
Comments, questions?
So first of all, very good work. Thank you. I think it's very nice and very promising. Well done to both of you. Would you be coming with a specific plan for FIFA?
Yes, so FIFA is specifically for hot, and so we've already gone to council, obviously, for our hot and kind of that process for getting the FIFA approval. But we will have plans in regard to like what we'll do and how that will be managed up that we'll share.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Thank you for the presentation. I mean, I was part of the reason that we asked for this, right? What's the overall larger vision? Are we looking to, I think you covered it earlier, but like tracking businesses, tracking visitors? Do we have certain targets that we're looking to hit with those? And are we getting feedback on the performance of our marketing?
Absolutely. So a part of the campaign in the more non-pretty version is KPIs for both the tourism and the economic development. So we've, tracked impressions, we're tracking leads through our website. Both of our websites have, for the tourism and economic development, have RFP and kind of like submission. So we'll constantly track those. We're also kind of always just staying up to date on any tools that we can best utilize to support the work that we do from a data perspective of getting that information. We have meetings with the vendors that we do contract to get monthly analytic reports. And so we're constantly, that's part of marketing too, is constantly kind of absorbing that data and pivoting and noticing when things aren't working and having, in time, real strategy development about what's working, what's not. People change. And so as we're marketing to people, it's important that we also stay abreast to those changes and make adjustments as we go through the next 3 years.
I would add to that too, that the marketing strategies is supporting the attraction strategy. So our business attraction, redevelopment teams, retention teams, they have these goals that they've set in mind, and our marketing supports that. So our targets come from that information of those different industry sectors, things like that they're trying to get in front of and after, the things that our competitive advantages really speak to. And then we put those things into our marketing. So we're not selling anything that's not directly impactful to that audience.
And we definitely have to give you guys opportunities to have good attractions here in Sugar Land, bring the businesses and people here.
Anything else? Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Emily. A lot of positive momentum there.
Thank you so much.
Well done. All right, we'll move on to the director's report. Devin?
Right, so I know it's 5:03. We're usually done by 5, but I do have a pretty lengthy director's report here. It's been a busy month or two. And so just hang with me here. Of course, as always, this is a report out. We can't accept any questions, but if there's any follow-ups that you would like after the meeting, please email us and we'll definitely get back to you. All right. So for business development, we've kind of covering the different divisions that all encompass economic development, redevelopment, and tourism. And for business development, we attended and were part of the panels for a BizNow event that happened on September 30th. There was a morning event that focused on office, and there was an afternoon event that focused on mixed use. And so Alva participated on the panel for the office portion in the morning. I participated in the mixed use portion in the afternoon. Other panelists included industry experts from Reeves, Midway, Downtown, Houston Plus, and Transwestern, among many others. And overall, there was different panel topics where really explored key trends that were shaping the office landscape, including development activity, tenant demands, and the future of workplace environments. Okay, so business development also hosted a office roundtable with office brokers and key stakeholders to exchange perspectives on the current office market. Part of this was really part of relationship building, getting an understanding of what's happening in our current market, and then using that to influence the office infill strategy that business development is working on to attract more tenants to our office buildings that we have. Obviously, we know that office is a tough market ever since COVID. It is slowly coming back. And so being able to have these opportunities to work with our current stakeholders that are really in it every day and seeing the conversations that we're having will really help us in kind of fine tuning what our strategy will be and continuing to focus in supporting our office market. All right, so tourism. Our tourism sales and event manager, Alyssa Abdullah, partnered with the Houston Marriott to host the Energy Industry Support International monthly networking event. It welcomed approximately 30 oil and gas administrative professionals from across Houston, and it really provided an excellent platform to highlight the Marriott as well as Sugar Land and raise awareness of all the resources and advantages that we had here. To add a local touch, Alyssa collaborated with the House of Blooms here in Sugar Land Town Square to feature a build your own flower bar, creating really that engaging experience and being also to showcase one of our local businesses. All right, also with tourism was the 77th Annual County Treasurers Association of Texas Conference. So tourism has been working very closely with the Texas Association of Counties to bring more of their annual conferences to the Houston Marriott. They have several conferences that are under their umbrella. And so the Annual County and District Clerks Association of Texas held their conference with us back in June. They had a really great experience. And so building on that success, we were able to support the Annual County Treasurers Association, which took place on September 15th through the 18th. Councilmember Rick Miller was actually one of the speakers at the event on leadership and character in public service. And then we're still kind of working on finalizing all the numbers, but the conference brought in more than 150 attendees, used around 415 guest rooms, and generated an estimated $141,000 in economic impact. So this is a great example of those overall partnerships and really bringing those conferences here to the Marriott and to Town Square. All right, I believe one more on tourism here. So the Meeting Planners International, a Houston chapter, is one of the largest organizations in the meetings and events industry. And this gave us a great platform to connect with planners and suppliers. Visit Sugar Land sponsored a table to highlight our Houston host city supporter sponsorship for FIFA. And during the event, Alyssa shared our co-branded FIFA video and spoke about how Sugar Land will be activated during the tournament. All right, so some of our redevelopment updates. So as you see here, demolition has now officially been underway at the former Fleur campus in Lake Point. And so Lovett began this in late September. They're starting on Building A. So those are familiar with the area. It's really, I think it's north. That's what I've been saying. It's like kind of the most northern part of the property. And so they are working there. It will take about 9 months or so. This is going to be a phased demolition approach, but we are still working with them closely. Things are moving along. They will be coming forward for some expected code amendments and then platting to hopefully start construction in summer 2026. We do not anticipate that there will be any noise or traffic impacts from this demolition. That is such a large site, and because they are doing it phased and because of the 50 or so acres, 30 acres of it is parking lot, they're going to be able to stage a lot of their equipment on that existing parking lot and kind of move their way around. All right, so hopefully you've all received, we announced this last week that we will be doing some Imperial Visioning workshops. We have put a press release, emails out to listserv, social channels, web pages, personal outreach. This is going to be November 3rd through the 6th, and this is going to be a 4-day community engagement series focused on what is the community's vision for the Imperial Historic District redevelopment moving forward. And so we're going to be continuing to push this information out. We really ask you to tell your friends, tell your neighbors. There are topical meetings. There's going to be an opening meeting, a closing meeting. There's topical meetings on specific topics. There's also just open studio time. So hopefully everybody will be able to fit this into their schedule. The point being is if you have comments, if you have ideas, if you want your voice to be heard, we're trying to give all the different opportunities for that to happen November 3rd through the 6th. And then this will be an important piece for us then when we go to find our private development partner, because the first question everybody always has is, what does the city want? What is the city's vision for it? And this will be a great springboard for us to be able to really clearly articulate that to a future partner and be able to find the partner that works best for us for this project. All right, a little bit more on just the community engagement. I had mentioned that we've been even doing some personal outreach. So Belknap Brookside had their kind of fall neighborhood meeting that we attended. There's also been individual meetings in the neighborhoods that are surrounding Imperial that staff has gone to, met with some of kind of the neighborhood leaders in those neighborhoods to really develop those relationships, get the word out, answer those questions. And then of course we participated in the Better Block kickoff event, which is just right across the street. You can see it right to our house right there in that picture. It was also a great opportunity for us to really engage with the community, answer the questions that they might have, get information out there, not just about Imperial, but other stuff that's going on in the city, the Great Homes program, the on-demand, mobility on-demand ride that we have. I'm saying it wrong. I'm not getting the right words. But there's been a lot going on in terms of the engagement, and we will continue to do that, not just before November 3rd, but throughout. And with that, oh, I got one more thing. Is this a video? Yes. Okay, great, great. How do I play it?
Where's the space bar?
Space bar? Yeah. 10 o'clock.
Fun.
And I think no, we still we're still going. I already kind of covered this, but in terms of the events that we're doing and National Night Out, we attended 5 parties. That was the day that we announced the shredding, so it gave a really great opportunity to get out there into those neighborhoods and talk to folks. And with that, gosh, there's still more. We still have a lot going on. We have the cleanup event that is scheduled for October 27th. This is gonna be the first, I don't know how many we'll have, but this is not gonna be the only one. We've received some questions of like, why on a Monday? The Children's Museum is closed on Monday. And so I felt like this was a good opportunity, at least for the first cleanup event, that we could get there without disrupting their operations because they are very busy all the time. So if you would like to participate, there's the QR code. You can sign up. We'll be doing it from 8 to 12. And the main focus is going to be moving some of these bricks into a more secure location. Some of these have been from the Heritage Foundation. And obviously, as you can see there, are very special with some of the markings that they have on them. And finally, this is the end. Please stay engaged with us. Please follow us on LinkedIn. This is really the best place where you can get all the information about what is going on with economic development in Sugar Land. So, thank you.
So, thank you. Motion to adjourn. Second.